Part 52. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 511. The smile on Qin Shiyu's face slowly fell. Looking at the indifferent and oppressive imperial prince in front of him, he suddenly felt that this was not a good choice. He tugged at the corners of his mouth and squeezed out in 2 words, "Can't." Su Lianhua turned her head decisively, slapped her hand into Qin Yuchen's, and said happily, "Let's form a team and let's go." Qin Yuchen's frivolous lips curled up, and a smile resumed on his handsome and noble face. He looked at her with soft eyes. "Okay, let's go." Then the 2 of them stood side by side and took long strides towards the lively crowd without looking back. Qin Shiyu, unhappy JPG. Lu Wang watched their leaving figures, rubbed his belly, his bright eyes full of eagerness, then turned to look at Qin Shiyu. His voice sounded like a bell. "Lao Wu, I want those 2 for prizes. How about we form 2 teams?" After coming back to her senses, Qin Shiyu twitched the corners of her mouth fiercely, and looked up and down at the whimsical big man in front of her several times. "Do you think I look like a woman, or do you think I am a woman?" Lu Wang, whose rough face was as thick as a city wall, had thick eyebrows and big eyes, and replied in a matter-of-fact manner, "Why does it have to be a woman? Isn't it okay for men to participate? After all, they are 2 people, and men also have true love." The orc guards behind them couldn't hold it back and shrugged their shoulders with laughter. When they saw Qin Shiyu's unfriendly eyes sweeping over them, they nodded their heads hurriedly with serious expressions on their faces. Said, "Yes, yes, Guard Lu is right. Males and males also have true love. The most important thing is that except for Sister Lianhua, there are no females in our team of guards. If we want to participate in the competition, we can only have males and males. Let's make do. Your Highness, don't worry, as long as we are thick-skinned enough and don't embarrass ourselves, others will be embarrassed." The orc guards said that as orcs, they were used to being thick-skinned and thick-skinned. For the sake of prizes, it didn't matter if others looked at them strangely. So Qin Shiyu 1vs failed to defeat this group of shameless male orcs, and followed several orcs with a stinking face to a game venue where couples were blindfolded and fed watermelons. This game can be eaten, and the prize is 3 large watermelons produced by Jupiter. It is very suitable for the orcs who like to eat, so all the big orcs said that they would play this game. But as soon as they were about to enter the venue, they were stopped by a smiling waiter. The waiter pointed to the vertical sign next to them with the rules for the participants of the mini-game written on them. The first one is that the 2 players in the team must be of different genders. The orcs, who were rough-skinned and thick-skinned, as thick as a city wall, could only retreat in disbelief. Lu Wang was a little unwilling, turned to look at Qin Shiyu's face with red lips and white teeth that was more beautiful than a woman's, and asked tentatively, "How about you play the role of a woman?" Qin Shiyu's smile froze and she glared at him with a smile on her face. "You're thinking shit." Lu Wang scratched his head and turned away guiltily. Qin Shiyu snorted, and then quickly took advantage of this opportunity to leave the team. He couldn't hang out with these idiots. He had better find a female companion by himself. Isn't it the culture of Huayao Empire? He found it would be over if she were just a female companion from the Huayao Empire. Qin Shiyu is handsome and can seduce people, but although there are many girls who look at him, none of them accept his invitation. Some were worried that he was the prince of the Orc Empire, and some said that he was too handsome and looked like a playboy, so they all rejected him. Qin Shiyu's heart was broken to the ground, her fox eyes drooped, and her face looked sad. Why are all the women in Huayao so ignorant? In this bustling hustle and bustle, he was the only one who was as beautiful as a flower. Alone, so lonely. "Shiyu, what are you doing standing here? Where are Lu Wang and the others?" Su Lianhua's surprised voice broke his lonely pretense and made him come back to reality. He looked up at a man and a woman who were talking and laughing in the crowd not far away. The man was tall and slender, with a noble aura, and the woman was sassy and bright, with a bright smile. She walked in a particularly harmonious way amidst the red and romantic fireworks. Right. He turned his eyes to the eldest sister's smiling face again. It seemed that he was having a good time with Prince Huayao. He muttered in his heart and called out weakly, "Sister. Why did you come back? Did you play games?" "Here we go, I played a little game of pinching balloons and won 2 sets of big peaches." "I'll give you one," Sulian, who had a bright smile on her face. She reached out and took out a big peach and handed it to Qin Shayu. Qin Shayu's eyes lit up, and she quickly took it, wiped it on her sleeve, put it to her mouth and took a bite. "Thank you, sister, it's so sweet." After taking a few bites of the big peach, he said that no one was paying attention to him, with a pitiful and aggrieved look on his face. Sulian Hua's smile faded slightly, with surprise on her face, and she said bluntly, "You can't find a partner. It's really a waste of time to have such a beautiful face." Qin Shayu's face suddenly froze. Qin Yuchen put his hand into a fist and put it to his lips, and chuckled softly. Qin Shayu's face was ugly. She felt that she was being laughed at. She glared at Qin Yuchen and then continued to look at his eldest sister in a grieved manner. His eldest sister was the worst offender. Sure enough, Sulian Hua showed a poor for me expression and comforted her, "How about I form a team with you? The games here don't necessarily require you to know the culture of the Huayao Empire, and there are also some competitive ones." Qin Shayu's eyes suddenly shone, and he cast a provocative look at Qin Yuchen proudly, and then opened his mouth to answer happily. But the word "good" was stopped by Qin Yuchen before he could say it. Competitive categories are only a minority after all. We played one just now and there are 2 left. The prizes are only small items like daggers, which are not as good as prizes like guessing puzzles. How about this? I just met a lone girl I know, and I will introduce it to you to form a team. She has a high degree of education and strong fighting ability. Whether it is guessing or competing, she can guide you and help you win prizes. The possibility is higher, and such a favorable team formation is good for both of our teams. Qin Yuchen looked at the male fox in front of him who was trying to pry him off, with a gentle smile, as if he was thinking about him. As expected, Sulian Hua changed her tune and nodded in agreement. "This is good. Ah Chen is thoughtful. Where is that girl? Can you come over now?" Qin Yuchen looked at her and said with a gentle smile, "Okay, I'll ask her to come over and join Prince Fox now." Sulian Hua smiled and said, "Okay, then we will wait for her here." Qin Shayu looked at the 2 people and decided directly for him. She gritted her teeth at Qin Yuchen with a smile on her face. She originally thought that Prince Huayao was an aloof and indifferent person who would not let strangers in. What happened now? Was he promoted to a high-ranking male player in a matter of seconds? It had only been a few minutes, but the eldest sister actually called him Akin in a familiar way. What a skill! I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 512. The person Qin Yuchen called was Sheng Dongjing, the eldest lady of the Sheng family who had a crush on Qin Yujin. She was also implicated after Qin Yujin was exposed and arrested. She was locked up in a small dark room and interrogated for a long time. However, because she had not officially confirmed her relationship with Qin Yujin at that time, the level of her interrogation was lowered. The final result was that she betrayed Huayao subjectively, but Qin Yujin stole some less important secrets from her, so she was forcibly suspended from duty and took a leave of absence. She has not yet recovered and returned to the Legion. These days, Sheng Dongjing is locked up at home and she hates it so much. She curses all the time and wants to rush into the prison and blow up that scumbag Qin Yujin. Oh, Foxhead. No wonder he had to accept her but kept hanging on to her. It turned out that this bitch wanted to use her as a trap for information. Damn, you bastard, die for me. Shen Dongjing, who was almost furious at home, was forced to come here today by her mother, who wanted her to see more men, fall in love with him, and completely forget about Qin Yujin. Shen Dongjing was speechless. She said that she only wanted to kill Qin Yujin, a fox man, and had no nostalgia for him. But her mother didn't believe it at all and had to let her find another man at night. At this time, the news about Qin Yujin came. In time, she quickly told her mother that His Highness the Prince had found a temporary partner for her to hold the red thread, and then she slipped out and was freed from the evil voice of her mother's murmurings that pierced her ears. But when she saw her temporary partner tonight, Shen Dongjing's face immediately turned cold, another male fox. Because Qin Yujin has fox blood, Shen Dongjing is particularly sensitive to male vixens. This time she saw a male fox with complete orc blood, and Shen Dongjing suddenly felt bad. Qin Sheiyu, who had just raised his signature smile, froze and pulled down the corners of his mouth. What's wrong with the male fox? Did he provoke you? This is the first time we've met, right, Miss Shen? Qin Sheiyu expressed that she was very dissatisfied with the attitude of this Lady Shanda. The woman looked at him with naked disgust. What happened to Prince Weiao? Why did she actually introduce him to such a partner? Shen Dongjing's face turned ugly. She was about to reply when she heard Qin Yujin speak commandingly, Major General Shen, this is Prince Hu Sheiyu from the Orc Empire. He belongs to the peace faction. Unlike Qin Yujin, your task tonight is to follow him and make sure you play all the games to the best of your ability. Shen Dongjing immediately raised her head and raised her chest with a straight military posture, yes, His Royal Highness. Shen Dongjing, who had no choice but to accept the task, looked at Qin Sheiyu again with a more solemn look, and her disgust was no longer shown. She smiled and said to Qin Sheiyu, Prince Fox, I hope we can cooperate tonight. Joy. Qin Sheiyu, who wanted to attack someone but didn't respond, had a breath in his throat and couldn't spit it out, feeling uncomfortable and flustered. He seriously suspected that Prince Weiao got such a woman to be his partner just to spite him and retaliate against him for trying to gain leverage just now. But his stubborn eldest sister didn't notice it at all, and looked at him with a look of relief. It's good that the misunderstanding has been resolved, Sheiyu, congratulations on finding a partner. There are many games and time is tight. Let's hurry up. Go sign up. As he spoke, he grabbed his partner Qin Yujin and hurried to the feeding each other watermelon game venue. Qin Yujin didn't struggle at all when being pulled. With a smile on his lips, he opened his long legs and followed her with dignity. Looking at their backs, Qin Sheiyu was angry and a little relieved. She was angry that Prince Weiao cheated him, but she was relieved that he was still nice to his eldest sister. It was said that Prince Weiao was very cold and indifferent, and it was difficult for ordinary people to get close to him, but the eldest sister pulled him. He didn't resist at all and cooperated obediently, which shows his patience with the elder sister. Judging from his eyes that are good at detecting JQ, this Prince Weiao definitely has different thoughts about his eldest sister. As for the specific character of Prince Weiao, he had to go back and ask Sister Chun. Although he had been optimistic about this man before, but because of this man's petty deception tonight, he said his favorability score was -1, -1, -1, -1. Qin Yujin, who didn't know that he almost had a hard stumbling block, was in a good mood and was dragged to the game field by Su Lianhua. Then he joined the young couple standing in the waiting area in the center of the game field under many surprised eyes. Qin Sheiyu also squeezed in with Shen Dongjing and stood beside them. Su Lianhua glanced at him in surprise, why are you here too? This is not conducive to us getting prizes. Only the first place in each minigame can win prizes. She frowned and looked at Qin Sheiyu with disapproval. Putting two high-powered players who can win championships on the same arena is simply a waste of resources. Qin Sheiyu, who had just cast a provocative look at Qin Yuchen, never expected that it was his eldest sister who disliked him first. The young lovers watching around said, "Hey, what is going on? That is His Royal Highness, right? Who is the woman next to him? Is she the future crown princess? It's impossible. That woman is from the Orc Empire. His Royal Highness must be with her out of etiquette." Yes, out of etiquette. That's right, just look at the couple next to His Royal Highness. They are the Prince of the Orc Empire and the eldest lady of the Sheng family, Sheng Dongjing. These two people can't be a couple. I heard that Miss Sheng hates men because of Qin Yujin. The prince from the Orc Empire is a standard male vixen. They are definitely not a couple, so by analogy, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and the female orc from the Orc Empire are definitely not a couple either. That's right, it's a false alarm. Ah, even His Highness the Crown Prince can't stop me from winning the game. The big watermelon from Mu Yuan Xing is so popular that I have been staring at it for 3 nights in a row without getting it. This is such a good opportunity. I must win this little game. Ah, you are a weakling like you and you still want to win. I will definitely win. Haha, this is feeding each other watermelon while blindfolded. It tests tacit understanding. It has nothing to do with whether we are weak or not. People around were talking a lot, but Qin Yuchen's face was not good looking. Those people said that he and Su Lianhua were not a couple. How could they not be a good match? As for where did Qin Yuchen's affection for Su Lianhua come from? Probably from the time when she was protecting Fox 14 and fighting those from the right wing of the Orc Empire. When she fought, she was fierce and ferocious, yet extremely clean and neat. She was even more dazzling than Qin Yutang. She was like a burning flame spreads wantonly, blooms all the firelight and releases all the energy. As a prince, even if he was on the front line, he would always have reservations because of his status. In order to be responsible to the empire and the people of Huayao, he, the prince of the empire, had to live, so he never tried his best, but he did. Yearning for the joy of trying his best, he had a different liking for this female warrior from the Orc Empire named Su Lianhua than he did to others. She is like his yearning. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 513. When his eyes always notice someone for the first time, and he always subconsciously looks for that person in the crowd, Qin Yuchen thinks this is probably the beginning of his heartbeat. Later, when the battle stopped and the battleships were full of wounded, she looked different from how she looked during the battle. During the battle, she looked like a Valkyrie covered in fire, but after she got off the battlefield, she looked like an ordinary person covered in dust. Even seems a bit silly to outsiders, he will cry because his brother's hand is broken, ferociously seek revenge for the knife that cut his hand. As for the enemy is already dead, he will personally bandage the wounds of strangers. He will go to when I help in the medical room, like other medical staff, I will go days and nights without taking a shower, my body will be sloppy, my eyelids will be red and swollen, and I will not have the slightest image of competing with death to save time. Even professional field nurses would show a bit of disgust when encountering patients with extremely ugly and foul-smelling wounds, but she never did. Qin Yuchen personally stayed on the medical battleship for more than 10 days, but he never saw her show any negative emotions. She lived a real and sincere life, and treated people in need with the greatest kindness. Qin Yuchen had never met such a person in the past 30 years. The women he has seen are either sassy or bright, shy or dignified. No matter how individual they are, they can control their emotions at a certain level. When fighting like her emotions are vivid, and when she is calm, her emotions are also clearly revealed. But not one. So she was the most special woman he had ever seen, and it seemed that it was not a surprise to pay attention to her. As the Prince of Wayo, Qin Yuchen is not overbearing and insists on taking all the people or things he wants for himself, but he will still try his best to fight for it. He subconsciously turned his head to look at the fiery Su Lianhua beside him, only to see her frowning and nodding in agreement with a serious face. Qin Yuchen's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that she also agreed with those people who said they didn't look like a couple? The next second she saw her make a fist with her right hand and hit the palm of her left hand, as if she suddenly realized, they are so right. This really has nothing to do with being strong or not, it is a test of tacit understanding. Then she turned her head and looked at Qin Yuchen seriously, and said to him, in order to win, we cannot be careless, so let's formulate a combat strategy. Qin Yuchen was stunned for a moment, with a strange look in his eyes. Is this what you were thinking about just now? Su Lianhua tilted her head and asked suspiciously, yes, you have to have a competitive attitude during the game. Why don't you think about combat strategies before the game? Qin Yuchen pulled up the corners of his lips and chuckled, but soon he suppressed his smile, put his fist on his lips and coughed lightly, and said with a slight smile of pleasure in his eyes, it's nothing, I just wanted to make a mistake, sorry, I will be serious next time. Then let's start discussing how to cooperate for a while. Well, let's feed each other watermelons. Su Lianhua smiled with satisfaction, then straightened her face and began to analyze it very seriously. The difficulty of feeding each other watermelon while blindfolded is that both people are blindfolded and have earplugs on their ears, so they can't see or hear, but you can smell it. In this way, my sense of smell is good, and my balance ability and sense of direction are also good. When the time comes, you just stand where you are, and I come over and we meet and then feed each other. Qin Yuchen became serious when he saw this, and approached her and said, no, there will be some traps and obstacles randomly appearing on the road between us. I have done some special training on escape with 5 senses, so why don't I do the road in the middle? You stand where you are. But Su Lianhua obviously didn't agree with his proposal. As the eldest sister of the team and the former number 1 killer in the killer pavilion, she had also done some training, and she usually did the leading things. Now someone is trying to compete with her. Of course she was not happy. The most important thing is that she is determined to win the prize of 3 big watermelons. What if the Prince Wayo in front of her screws up? She didn't give any face to express that she couldn't trust others. Even if the person in front of her was Prince Wayo, she would be more sure to do it herself. As a result, the two had a bad start and had disagreements over who should take the middle road. Qin Yuchen wanted to protect her and prevent her from making a fool of herself accidentally, but Su Lianhua felt that she was the strongest and the best, and everyone else was a jerk. She had to take this path. Qin Shayu watched secretly from the side, looked at Qin Yuchen and chuckled, man. He turned to look at Sheng Dongjing beside him and said with a smile, let's also talk about pre-war strategy. Sheng Dongjing gave him a look of disgust, then turned away and ignored him. Her mission is simply to play games with him as best she can, and does not include friendly pre-war tactics. Qin Shayu was shocked. He gritted his teeth. Prince Wayo was indeed uneasy and had no good intentions. He must have sent such a woman who didn't give him face to defeat him. After a while, it was their turn to play. There are 10 groups of young couples participating in the competition at the same time. Su Lianhua and Qin Shayu happen to be in the same group, and they are next to each other. Qin Shayu looked at Prince Wayo standing next door and asked with a smile, how about it? Have you and my eldest sister discussed the pre-war strategy? Qin Yuchen glanced at him lightly, it's been discussed. Qin Shayu was very interested, then which one of you will take the middle path? Qin Yuchen showed a helpless expression, she. His original concern was that he didn't want a girl to make a fool of herself, because all other temporary partners were men who walked the obstacle course. This road was originally set up for men to let men know that girls are not easy to chase. He had to cherish it later, so he wanted to leave by himself, but unlike other girls, she was not afraid of making a fool of herself, and she insisted on leaving by herself. What else could Chin Yuchen do? He could only compromise. At this time, the host came out with a smile and said, everyone, our game rules need to change this round. Just now, the girls said that they couldn't see the heroic appearance of their partners with their eyes covered, so they wanted to stand where they were. People can freely watch the actions of their partners without blindfolding. Our wife accepted the suggestions of several girls, so the rules of this round of watermelon feeding competition became that the party standing still does not need to blindfold, and the only one who can move during the watermelon feeding session just the mouth. As for the other party who is blindfolded and takes the watermelon, in order to avoid wasting watermelon, the blindfolded party will no longer distribute watermelon to you at the initial point. The rule of wearing earplugs has also been cancelled. You need to set off empty-handed and pass with the verbal reminder of your partner. When the obstacle comes in front of the opponent, you can feed your partner a watermelon from a fixed point. Correspondingly, the obstacle traps on the obstacle path will be upgraded, from level 1 to level 8. If everyone has no objections, then we are ready to start. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 514. After listening to the host explain the rules, the male contestants complained speechlessly, it's obvious that those women want to see us make a fool of ourselves based on our partner's heroic appearance. Yes, the obstacle course is not easy to walk on. Just now, several people fell down and squatted on their butts. They were totally unimaginable. Now that they have advanced several levels, aren't they going to fall flat on their backs? They will lose their brains. Come out. It can't be so miserable. It's not like I'm crazy. It's not like that. And now we can hear it, as well as the command prompts from the opposite partner. It's better than before when our eyes were completely black and we couldn't hear or see anything. You don't understand this, buddy. Some women like to watch their men make fools of themselves, especially the one I found at night. Although she was dressed like a gentle lady, her gentle mask in the previous game was broken. Her real temperament is that of a little pepper. She just likes to watch the fun and doesn't take it too seriously. All I ask now is that she won't point me to the wrong path on purpose. What else could he do? He had already formed a partner, and he couldn't quit tonight. The only fault was that he didn't see the essence through the truth, and didn't see the bad nature of her little pepper through her ladylike skirt. Women are such creatures who are so good at disguise. The man next to him patted him on the shoulder, with a look of sympathy on his face. Thank you for your hard work, brother. Forget it, I won't say anything. Wish us good luck. Well, wish me good luck. The eldest brother and the eldest brother looked at each other, put their arms around each other, and walked towards the starting point of the opposite track with a solemn look on their faces. Qin Shaiyu looked at their backs rustling in the cold water, and the heroes were gone and never returned, and suddenly felt a little embarrassed. He turned to look at Shen Dongjing aside and said sincerely, "How about you challenge the obstacle course?" Shen Dongjing smiled at him and said, "This is a man's matter and I won't interfere. Or does His Highness the Prince of the Orc Empire think that you, a male, don't have the courage of our Huayao Empire men?" Qin Shaiyu, what if I say no? Shen Dongjing's mouth twitched, this prince is so shameless. But in the end, Qin Shaiyu walked slowly to the opposite side and chose to show his heroic appearance because the eldest sister next door was staring at him. Qin Yuchen noticed the movement here, and the corners of his mouth curled up on his handsome and noble face. Finally, he turned his head and leaned slightly towards Su Lianhua. His magnetic and hoarse voice flowed in Su Lianhua's ear, "What about us? I can pass." Su Lianhua subconsciously raised her hand to press against his chest, pursed her lips and touched her itchy ears. She raised her eyes and glanced at him. "No, I'll come as soon as you tell me, but please pay attention as agreed before small details are about to change. You gave the command without blindfolding me. I will carry out your orders accurately. I heard that you are one of the most powerful commanders in the Huayao Empire. This little command should be fine, right?" Qin Yuchen followed her strength and stepped back, straightened up, and a low laughter sounded above Su Lianhua's head. "No problem, don't worry, we will definitely get the first place." Su Lianhua glanced at him with satisfaction, and then walked to the starting point on the opposite side of the track with countless people looking at her in surprise. What's going on? Is the woman walking on the track? As expected of the women from the Orc Empire, they are a tough group. Ah, it started, the track is starting to move. Dalenzi, come on, don't lose to the strong woman on track number 1. Ha ha ha. The people watching the excitement all around burst into laughter that was either malicious, kind, or booing. The women on the other side of the track were also jumping and screaming to guide their partners, and the chatter was very noisy. Qin Yuchen frowned, rubbing his forehead and having a headache. He was not used to such an occasion, but when his eyes turned to Su Lianhua, who was walking away on the opposite track, his eyes softened. Oh, even though it's not adaptable, it's still a wonderful experience. Then, with an elegant voice, he slowly began to give directions to the girl opposite. Opposite me, Su Lianhua also felt that her partner was perfect, with a nice voice and very organized command, especially with those next door who said, "Oh, that's wrong, I accidentally shouted too early, and no, I should have raised my right leg." Compared with the conductors who were full of mistakes like "I'm sorry," he appeared to be even better. But what satisfied Su Lianhua the most was that his command did not make her feel any sluggishness at all. He seemed to understand all her body reactions and conditions, and achieve the perfect command, making her move as smooth as chocolate. There will be no muscle incoordination or hand and foot incoordination at all. So one person commanded, and the other obeyed the command accurately. Su Lianhua quickly crossed the obstacle road at an almost flying speed. What Qin Yuchen was worried about did not happen at all. She maintained a battle-like state of doing her best without reservation and came to Qin Yuchen. Before Qin Yuchen looked at the watermelon that she accurately handed to her mouth and chuckled. Su Lianhua was satisfied with his command, and he was equally satisfied with Su Lianhua's unreserved trust and cooperation throughout the process. The two of them had just cooperated as if they were born with a tacit understanding. Looking back on the command process just now, he even felt a sense of enjoyment in it. It was a perfect fit, and he loved her absolute trust. What are you laughing at? Eat quickly. Su Lianhua felt her ears were a little numb when she heard the low laughter coming from in front of her. Why was this man laughing so hard that his ears were burning? Can we still compete seriously? Qin Yuchen couldn't help but chuckled again. It doesn't matter, your speed is very fast. Even if it takes another 5 minutes, we will still be in first place. Do they have such a big advantage? Su Lianhua frowned. Impossible, at least Shyu can still compete with me. Qin Yuchen glanced at Qin Shyu, who fell to the ground again, and then at Shen Dongjing, who had a happy expression on his face. He couldn't help but curl up the corners of his mouth. You can take off the blindfold and see for yourself after we're done. Oh, Su Lianhua was a little suspicious. She seemed to hear Qin Shyu's screams. Her hands shook. Why was she screaming so miserably? Qin Yuchen happened to lower his head to eat the watermelon. Because her hands were shaking, the watermelon almost stuffed into his nostrils. Fortunately, he reacted quickly. Otherwise, if a piece of watermelon was inserted into his nose, he, the glorious prince, would probably have an extra emoji. He glanced helplessly at the person opposite who had his lips tightened and his mind was distracted. Don't move your hands. Oh, I'm sorry. After realizing her mistake, Su Lianhua immediately came to her senses and apologized on the spot to show her remorse. She stood upright and her hand holding the watermelon was also stretched out straight, holding it firmly without moving at all. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 515. Qin Yuchen bent his head slightly and bit the piece of watermelon with a smile on his lips. The sweet juice of the watermelon exploded with sweet taste in his mouth, which made him feel refreshed. The next second he raised his eyebrows in pleasure and saw the face in front of him who unconsciously moved towards him. He couldn't help but feel happy. She raised her eyebrows animatedly, and after a closer look, she saw her nose twitching slightly, her slender and delicate neck sliding up and down as she swallowed saliva, as if she was craving the taste of the piece of watermelon in her hand. Ha ha, a smile appeared in Qin Yuchen's deep eyes, and a low laugh unconsciously overflowed from his throat, making his heart feel soft. Su Lianhua's ears twitched sharply. What are you laughing at? Qin Yuchen stopped laughing, straightened up and looked at her and said, It's nothing, I just think this piece of watermelon is too delicious. Hearing this, Su Lianhua nodded in agreement, but even with her eyes covered, she could feel the bright red pulp of the watermelon and the full and sweet taste of the juice. Suddenly, I regretted that I was the one feeding the watermelon. If I hadn't taken the obstacle away from Prince Huayao just now, then she would be the one eating the watermelon now. I feel like I missed out on 100 million. After the host said that their group had completed the competition, Su Lianhua immediately took off her blindfold, and then she saw that only the corner of the watermelon in her hand had been bitten. She looked at Qin Yuchen in surprise. You just ate it one bite. Yet Qin Yuchen smiled and rubbed his belly helplessly and said, the food just now was so delicious. I couldn't help but overeat. Now I really can't eat anymore. Su Lianhua glanced at him sympathetically, then immediately perked up and said with bright eyes, since you can't eat it anymore, let me help you eat it. What a pity it would be to waste such a good watermelon. Then she stuffed the watermelon into her mouth with a serious expression on her face. After taking a bite, her eyes immediately lit up, and she continued to nibble on it. She did not feel that there was anything wrong with her behavior at all. In her consciousness, there was no concept of indirect kissing and eating leftovers. She could eat some. That's pretty good. No matter in her previous life or after coming to the interstellar world in this life, her living environment was not very good. She was in a shortage of food, and it was the worst thing to waste food. Qin Yuchen was not surprised when he saw her actions. Combining the situation in the Orc Empire and his observation of her, he had already expected her behavior, so he just stood next to her, with a pair of phoenix eyes slightly lowered. Handsome, he looked at her with a gentle smile on his face. The onlookers sneaked a peek here and secretly breathed in, hey, what's going on? Why do I suddenly feel that our crown prince and the female orc from the Orc Empire are so well matched? I also. Speaking of which, this is the first time I've seen His Highness the Crown Prince look like this. Well, it's warm. I didn't have any sympathy for Shui Ying from the Shui family before. I remember that at the banquet, His Highness the Crown Prince had a cold expression when he and Shui Ying performed the heartbeat opening dance. Cannot see what human emotions look like. Ah, when you look at a man and a woman under a red light, the more you look at them, the more they look like a couple. No, isn't the point here that the female orc ate the watermelon that His Highness the Crown Prince took a bite of? His Highness the Crown Prince didn't stop drinking, and looked at her with a gentle face. If there wasn't something in this, I would have been in vain. The name of the holy name. That sounds like it. Could it be that His Highness the Crown Prince really has a crush on this female orc? Tisk, if it's true, then there will be something fun to watch. Shui Yingxin, that little bitch who calls herself the Crown Princess, will be embarrassed. Shui Yingxin in the crowd clenched her fists tightly, her sharp nails digging into her palms, her red eyes looking fiercely at the two people surrounded in the center of the crowd. Impossible, impossible, how could Brother Chen fall in love with such a vulgar and shameless female orc? These people are all telling lies. Brother Chen must have a hard time. Yes, he has a hard time. He was forced by the emperor and the empress, so he acted on the occasion. Shui Yingxing kept hypnotizing herself, trying to escape from this reality, but the envious laughter and ridicule of her surroundings penetrated into her ears, making her annoyed and irritated. Later, those noisy and ridiculing voices finally suppressed her. The last straw broke her heart and she collapsed. Ah, I don't believe it. I don't believe that Brother Chen will like that bitch. He is a liar. I am dreaming. I must be dreaming. She suddenly covered her head and screamed that she was crazy, which startled the people around her. However, before the people around her came to find out what was wrong with her, she screamed and ran out crazily. That's Shui Yingxin, right? What happened to her? She couldn't stand the stimulation and went crazy. It seems to me that she used to act like a crown princess, but now she sees that His Highness treats other women differently and she can't stand the gap at the same time. Okay, leave her alone, let's continue watching His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and this sassy and beautiful female orc coming down from the altar. I suddenly felt that they were a bit good. A group of people were eating melon and consuming CP. They almost forgot about the competition until Qin Sheiyu's screams brought them back to their senses. Su Lianhua also licked her lips, closed her melon skin, and looked in the direction of the sound, almost forgetting Xiao Yu. Even though they won the first place, they still didn't stop on the field. The male contestants threw their butts and squatted, with their feet in the air. Their facial features were distorted by being poked, and their toes were stepped on and hugged. There were also some who were squealing with their legs jumping in place, but it was terrible to watch. Qin Sheiyu was also one of the miserable ones. He was the one who had his toes trampled and jumped on the spot, screaming. He even cursed angrily, what kind of hatred or resentment? You woman deliberately tried to hurt me. Shen Dongjing had a speechless expression on her face. I clearly said left. You had to move your right leg yourself. It's not my fault. Qin Sheiyu became even more angry. He simply took off his blindfold and glared at her angrily. You pointed me in the wrong direction on purpose before, so I walked in the opposite direction this time. Shen Dongjing blinked innocently. I apologized before. I made a mistake in commanding and failed to keep up with your rhythm. This time I was finally right and you don't appreciate it? Why are you, a man, more troublesome than a woman? Qin Sheiyu's eyes widened and she was so angry that she said, You. Seeing the two people fighting each other, Su Lianhua was a little worried beside her. The pair might become enemies. Qin Yuchen was very satisfied with this situation, and took the worried Su Lianhua to receive the prize. After seeing the 3 large watermelons, Su Lianhua immediately put Qin Sheiyu behind happily. It didn't matter if they didn't deal with each other. No one would die anyway. It didn't matter if Sheiyu had more experience. He had always been the one to take care of the girls in the past. He was so confused that someone finally cured him this time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 516. The war between Qin Sheiyu and Shen Dongjing has no chance of being extinguished tonight. He originally planned to join Qin Yuchen in forming a group to steal his limelight and draw back the eldest sister's attention. He could not implement it at all. He only focused on playing with Shen Dongjing in the game. They competed with each other in a battle of wits and deceived each other. So throughout the night, Qin Yuchen and Su Lianhua won consecutive battles, counting the prizes until their hands cramped. The team of Qin Shiju and Shen Dongjing devoted themselves to holding each other back and watching each other's jokes. They perfectly acted as the atmosphere team and lost consecutive battles. People saw enough jokes, and in the end, many people followed them as they moved around, just to watch their performance. After the game event, a man whose family owns an entertainment company came over and handed him 2 business cards, inviting them to form the Happy Enemies group to see them debut. Of course, in the end, it was the person who ran the entertainment company who was driven away by these happy enemies. Su Lianhua happily watched the man who ran the entertainment company run away, and couldn't help but give a thumbs up to Qin Shiju, who was not far away. On the lawn of the manor, Qin Yuchen stood beside her, feeling the cool breeze blowing in the dark night. With a relaxed expression on his face, he smiled and asked softly, "What are your plans in the Huayao Empire in the future?" Su Lianhua was stunned for a moment, then realized that he was asking herself, and said casually, "We will follow the second sister to Muiyuan Star." Qin Yuchen naturally also knew about Baikan Chun's sworn relationship with several of her people. Hearing this, he continued to ask calmly, "Then is there anything else you want to do? I mean, although you are sent by the Orc Empire, I came here to be a hostage, but we, Huayao, have sincerely established diplomatic relations with the Orc Empire, and may develop into friendly countries to connect with each other in the future, so we won't embarrass you, you can do whatever you want without any worries." Su Lianhua looked at him with bright eyes. Prince Huayao's status was high, so he must be sure of what he said, so she didn't have to worry about the embarrassment of her status and avoid getting too close to her second sister. Qin Yuchen saw her appearance and smiled patiently, "Have you thought of what to do?" Su Lianhua smiled brightly and shook her head, "Not yet. I'd better go to Muiyuan Star first and then slowly think about what I want to do." Oh, Qin Yuchen's eyes darkened, his plan to retain people failed. He selfishly wants to keep people on the main star, because as the prince of the empire, the main star is the place he has been looking forward to for a long time. If she stays on the main star, then they will definitely have more opportunities to meet. In the same way, if she stays on the main star, there will definitely be more opportunities for them to meet. There are fewer opportunities to meet when you go to Jupiter. After all, Jupiter is not close to the main star, and it takes 5 or 6 days to go there with the fastest warship. But he soon cheered up again, and said with a smile on his handsome face, "Then let's add a communication friend. You can come to me if you need anything in the future." Su Lianhua raised her eyes suspiciously, "Looking for you?" Qin Yuchen chuckled, "Yes, look for me. Aren't we friends? What's wrong with you looking for me?" Su Lianhua immediately accepted the term friend and nodded with a smile, "Well, we are friends, so if you need help with anything in the future, you can come to me." Qin Yuchen's deep eyes looked at her deeply with a smile, "I will. Even without him there will be opportunities." After seeing off the guests, Qin Shiju and Su Lianhua walked side by side to the accommodation in the manor. Qin Shiju asked calmly, "Sister, what do you think of Prince Huayao?" Su Lianhua blurted out without any hesitation, "He is a good person." Qin Shiju suppressed a smile and felt secretly happy. Prince Huayao was given a good guy card after working hard all night. He was a little gloating about his misfortune, and suddenly felt that it was nothing wrong to be so angry with Shen Dongjing that he almost vomited blood tonight. After Feng Yuyu and Bai Jianchun got married, they dealt with some matters related to the Feng family on the main star. Bai Jianchun also completely cleaned up Duke Bai's mansion and took over all of Bai Zhuangcan's property. Only then was he satisfied with the situation of the Feng family. Everyone, including Su Lianhua, Qin Shiju, and others, packed up and boarded the battleship back to Muiyuan Star. On the battleship, Feng Yuyu looked at his cousin who had followed him suspiciously, "Why are you here? You have so many things to do. You have been so busy lately. Why are you going to Muiyuan Star with me now that you have time?" Qin Yuchen's noble and handsome face said without changing his expression, "How could I miss your wedding, cousin? Of course I have to go over and bless you in person." Fen Yu. The corners of his mouth twitched, and his peach blossom eyes were filled with, "I don't believe it, you can't even think of lying to me." But Qin Yuchen ignored him anymore. With a smile on his lips, he walked into the battleship with his long legs and chose a room to live in. Fen Yu's expression behind him became even weirder. He turned to look at Yao Wengxian beside him and asked suspiciously, "Do you think my cousin is a little weird today? It feels like a peacock spreading his tail." Yao Wengxian pushed up his glasses, with an enigmatic smile on his lips. "Spring is here, it's the season when all things multiply. You are right to feel this way." "What do you mean?" Fen Yu looked him up and down several times with an expression that was hard to explain. "When did you learn biology? Can you speak human words?" Yao Wengxian chuckled and did not argue with him. He still said enthusiastically, "Recently, there is a beautiful love triangle story circulating in the main star circles. After your wedding, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and the female guard from the Orc Empire, we formed a team to participate in the game together. During the game, His Highness the Crown Prince was attentive and considerate, silently approached, and kissed indirectly. The atmosphere between the two was ambiguous, which directly made the Shui family miss Shui Yingxin, the future crown princess who is rumored to have a nose and eyes, mad. Fen Yu was dissatisfied. "Shui Ying is planning on the future princess, but my cousin has never admitted it." Then he stared at Yao Wengxian with wide peach blossom eyes. "Is it true that the eldest sister and my cousin kissed indirectly, you said?" Yao Wengxian nodded. "It's absolutely true. I saw it with my own eyes, and there are dozens of spectators present who can prove it." Fen Yu looked stunned, and then became confused again. "Then why haven't I heard about this?" Yao Wengxian silently gave him a moderate eye roll. "You follow my sister-in-law around all day long, and you want to stick to her all the time, without even giving your mind to others. What can you know? There were two people before. I discussed this matter with you, but you were busy sweetly feeding your wife juice and ignored them. What's wrong with that? With my wife by my side, I don't have time to talk to other people. I don't even look at them when they pass by in such a large area. Why don't I listen to what they say?" Fen Yu said confidently and righteously. The words made Yao Wengxian choked up. "I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs." Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 517. Fen Yu rubbed his chin, with an interested smile in his peach blossom eyes. "The iron tree is blooming, there is a good show to watch." Hearing this, Yao Wengxian also pushed up his glasses and nodded with a smile. "That's right. According to my observation, this eldest sister-in-law is a straight woman. She is not aware of the thoughts of our crown prince at all. According to reliable information, she also issued a good person card to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince." Fen Yu turned his head curiously. "Where did you get the reliable information?" "Yao Wengxian, that prince from the Orc Empire is over there." Fen Yu, "Oh, that's indeed quite reliable. After all, they have become good half-siblings. With their relationship, it is not difficult for Qin Shiju to get the news." "What are you talking about here?" came Baiqian Chun's voice with a slight smile. They saw her wearing an exquisite red dress and walking towards them with Rong Kikai with a bright smile, followed by an eyeful person. Shen Bian was chasing behind Rong Kikai. Fen Yu's peach blossom eyes lit up, and he went up to hold her hand with a look on his face. His voice was sticky. "Daughter-in-law, you are here, we are discussing the matter of our eldest sister and cousin." Baiqian Chun raised her eyebrows suspiciously. "Sister?" Fen Yu suddenly became excited, and then he quickly said flatteringly, "It's not the eldest sister I recognize, but the eldest sister you recognize." Baiqian Chun's lips curved into a smile. "I know this." Fen Yu carefully observed her expression to make sure she didn't mean to be angry. Then he breathed a sigh of relief, regained his composure, and asked casually, "Then what do you think?" Bai Qianchun glanced at him with a smile. "How can I see it? It depends on what the eldest sister wants. Emotional matters have to be decided by the person involved. We are just bystanders. As long as your cousin doesn't cheat on feelings, I won't. Will intervene. This is also the tacit understanding between the members of their team. Although they will pay attention and care, they will respect the opinions of the parties involved. At most, they will only add fuel to the flames or secretly test them like Qin Sheiyu. They will not interfere too much or do anything. Things that you think are right but are annoying. Just like she did with Feng Yuyu back then, after she identified the person, the eldest sister and the others would just observe the test. After confirming that the character was okay, they would let go and give blessings without interfering too much. Hearing this, Feng Yuyu opened his eyes with a guilty conscience. Ah, this suddenly reminded me of how he flirted with his eldest brother-in-law intentionally or unintentionally after his eldest sister married Huo Quancheng, and deliberately provoked him to make him jealous. His daughter-in-law even noticed it. Regret, he regrets it now. Realizing that something was wrong, he quickly hung up the alarm and changed the subject. What about that? Wife, are you hungry? Leng Xiao and Qin Yuxiao are cooking in the kitchen. Let's hurry over and maybe we can order woolen cloth. Bai Qianchun glanced at him with a smile and followed his words, then go over and have a look. Feng Yuyu immediately smiled like a flower. I have prepared a lot of ingredients you like. Your wife, you can order what you like later. If Leng Xiao and the two boys can't cook, I have also arranged to a chef is standing by in the kitchen, they will definitely do it. Well, you can also order a few of your favorites. Oh, my wife, you are so good to me. Yao Wengxian's face was filled with sore teeth as the husband and wife talked nonsense. Rong Kikai hurriedly followed. Sister Bai, wait for me, I also want to order some dishes. Sheng Bian hurriedly guarded her and coaxed nervously, Sister-in-law, please slow down. It doesn't matter if you can't order. I also brought the chef and ingredients over. You are still injured from the competition yesterday, it's not okay, you're bleeding a lot, so I asked someone to stew you a soup that replenishes qi and blood. It's all according to your taste, and it's sweetened. I know, why are you so verbose? The four couples walked further and further away, leaving Yao Wengxian and the single dog standing there alone and cold. He muttered with a blank look on his face, it's really spring, why are the two of them thinking about finding a companion, then do I have to look for it too? Yao Wengxian walked to the restaurant with sadness, looked at the young couple sitting inside, and suddenly felt that he had been hit hard again. Feng Yuyu and Bai Qianchun were sitting together. The newlyweds were in a state of deep affection. You feed me a mouthful, and I feed you a mouthful. The sweet and sticky atmosphere was simply unbearable. Unexpectedly, even such a serious girl as Bai Qianchun would be degraded by Feng Xiao'er. Sitting in the corner on the left are Lin Guiyan and Lin Fizhu. They are also a young couple who have received their wedding certificates. The wedding is scheduled for next month. They are also in love at this time. The sweet eyes between these two people are more beautiful than each other. The young couple Feng Yuyu and Bai Qianchun are even worse. And before, Rong Kikai and Sheng Bian, the arrogant young master Sheng Bian is holding a spoon and bending down to make babies, shouting that my aunt is feeding the girl. Do you still remember that you are the eldest young master of the Sheng family? Why is he so humble? Yao Wengxian turned his eyes aside and saw the aloof and arrogant crown prince smiling as if he was telling someone a joke. Su Lianhua was amused and the atmosphere between the two was very good. Tisk tisk, every man has changed. It wasn't until he saw Qin Sheiyu and Sheng Dongjing fighting each other for food in the corner that he felt a little relieved. Look, there is another person here who is worse off than a single dog like him, so he can rest assured. Back to the topic, His Highness the Crown Prince of Huayao chased the man. Na Ming acted quickly, decisively, and unswervingly. He chased from the main star to Muyuan star. Su Lianhua was the bridesmaid, and he wanted to be the best man. Su Lianhua drank to stop the wine, so he helping him drink. Su Lianhua practiced martial arts, and he was, used as a punching bag. He never hid his feelings when doing things in a high-profile manner. It didn't take long for the news that His Royal Highness Prince Huayao was pursuing a female orc from the Orc Empire to spread. Not only everyone in Quan Huayao knew about it, but at least everyone in the upper-class aristocratic circle knew about it. This incident even alarmed His Majesty the Emperor above. Inside the Huayao Palace, His Majesty the Emperor looked down at Su Lianhua, who was invited by him, with a majestic expression on his face. "Tell me, what is your conspiracy, or how many star coins do you need to leave my prince?" Su Lianhua's bright and cheerful face was full of confusion at this time. She originally thought that His Majesty Emperor Huayao solemnly invited her here for some important event, but she didn't expect it to be this. She frowned and was confused. "Why should I leave him?" His Majesty the Emperor's face showed anger. "Don't pretend, you must have confused and hypnotized him, and he will not let go of you. Just give up. You are from the Orc Empire, and he is our Huayao prince. Your position is inherently inappropriate. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs." Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 518. Su Lianhua was even more confused, and then explained seriously, "My prototype is from the leopard tribe, not the fox tribe, and I will not be confused or hypnotized." You, His Majesty the Emperor was so angry that she was trembling with anger at her pretending to be ignorant, and shouted, "That's enough, stop pretending. There is absolutely no way you can become my son's wife, Huayao the Crown Princess, the future Emperor and Empress of Huayao." Su Lianhua's eyes widened, and suddenly the string in her head moved. At this time, the door of the palace was kicked open from the outside. Qin Yuchen burst in from the door with a cold aura and a cold face, and his cold eyes stared directly at His Majesty the Emperor above. After seeing that he felt guilty and avoided looking at her, he walked up to Su Lianhua, leaned over and lowered his head, frowning with an anxious expression on his face, and asked in a slow voice, "Are you okay?" Su Lianhua turned her gaze to him with a blank expression. "His Majesty the Emperor said you were chasing me, does that mean you like me?" The tips of Qin Yuchen Teng's ears were red, but his eyes were looking at her intently. He laughed softly and then solemnly admitted, "Yes, I originally planned to formally confess to you tomorrow, but I didn't expect my father to help me break it." "Then you," his voice was nervous and trembling unconsciously, "then are you willing to accept me?" Su Lianhua looked at him with a bright and cheerful smile. "Accepted, we have been getting along very well these days. I also like the life my second sister and second brother-in-law live. You are just right for us. We can try to fall in love." Although Qin Yuchen only got suitable and try, she still raised the corners of her mouth. "No matter what," she agreed. She can take her time in emotional matters in the future. As time goes by, the affection will always become deeper and deeper. His love for her can also catch up with his love for her. His Majesty the Emperor was like a bolt from the blue, and he was not feeling well. He never expected that these two people had not been together before, but he actually acted as a helper. Looking at his son's lustful appearance, he felt a little dizzy and was deeply afraid that his son would follow his own path. Cough, cough, cough. He coughed to indicate that his old father was still there. Qin Yuchen, who was happy, suppressed his smile, and reluctantly cast his gaze on Su Lianhua's face, which smiled more vividly because of the joy, and coaxed in a low voice, "You go outside and wait for me first, I will do everything for you, my father you don't have to worry about it, my mother likes you very much." Oh, Su Lianhua responded with a smile. She didn't care whether His Majesty the Emperor had any objections. Anyway, she just wanted to fall in love. She didn't plan to get married yet, and it hadn't reached the point where he needed his parents' consent. After seeing Su Lianhua leave, His Majesty the Emperor looked at his son again, with a sad expression on his face. Are you confused? Do you really like that female orc that much? Qin Yuchen's raised corners of his mouth were slightly lowered, and his tone was a bit colder. Father, I have always believed that she is a person in this life, and I will never follow in your footsteps, father. I am only one person in my heart. There will never be anyone else around me in my life, and no matter how many other people plot, it will be useless. The emperor, who felt that the connotation had been taken in, choked, and his originally angry face now became more embarrassed. He frowned and changed his approach, intending to be moved and rationalized. Then do you know that your status is inappropriate? Although we, Huayao, have signed a peace agreement with the Orc Empire, no one knows how long it will last. There is a lesson learned from the fake Fox 14 who broke the contract before, and no one can guarantee it. Now the real Fox 14 will always abide by this peace agreement. Besides, you are the future emperor of our Huayao. It is really inappropriate for you to marry the Empress of the Orc Empire. There have been many objections within Huayao. Oh, who is it? Why haven't I heard about it? Qin Yuchen was unmoved and replied with a cold expression. His Majesty the Emperor hesitated. I promised not to say this. The corners of Qin Yuchen's lips raised sarcastically. I know, it's the Shui family. Shui Yingzin stopped you yesterday and said something, right? His Majesty the Emperor was surprised. You know. Qin Yuchen snorted coldly. I know, the Shui family has been making friends with all kinds of people because of Shui Ziyu's lack of financial resources, but after all, they still can't let the Shui family return to their previous peak. Then Shui Yingzin will marry me and become the prince. The concubine is one of the shortcuts for them to regain their prestige. They have already planned for the third sister to marry a fool, and now they have set their sights on me again. Oh, how could I not take precautions? His Majesty the Emperor calmed down, frowning and feeling a little displeased. The Shui family is indeed not a good person, and Shui Yingzin is indeed not suitable to be a princess, and Huayao has other noble ladies. Qin Yuchen interrupted him. Father, I told you that the person I identified will not change, and I never make an account that I am not sure about, and the things that father is worried about will not happen. Just now I have obtained the Huayao High School with the approval of the meeting. The Orc Empire passed the intermarriage policy between the two empires. In the future, these mixed bloods after intermarriage can have the identity of the two empires and travel between the two empires. When the number of mixed bloods increases, the voice of the empire will gradually become one voice, and then there will be true peace. And I, Prince Huayao, will take the lead in marrying the Orc Empire and promoting the intermarriage policy of the two empires. This century-old peace plan will not only not be opposed at the beginning, but will also receive a high support rate. The expression on His Majesty the Emperor's face gradually changed from shock to approval and appreciation. After figuring out the joints, he looked at Qin Yuchen with a happy face. As expected of my son, he can come up with this method of gradually assimilating the soft knife. Then my father won't object to you anymore. Then he said with a smile on his face, son, you have a better brain than your father, and your skills are sufficient. Why don't your father pass the position to you directly? When your father abdicates, I will take your mother with you. She is most envious of Mrs. Feng's ability to travel among the stars. The smile on Qin Yuchen's face turned into a cold face, and he refused. No, father, you are in the prime of life and can continue to work for hundreds of years. You should continue to serve His Majesty the Emperor. Son, the crown princess has just been caught up with her and she hasn't covered her head yet. What if she doesn't want me anymore because I'm busy? I have to go and accompany her. By the way, father, I need a vacation, a long vacation to cultivate my relationship with my crown princess. The Shui family will be left to you, father. They have plotted against us, father and son, and they cannot keep them any longer. After finishing speaking, Qin Yuchen turned around and left the hall to find his princess. His Majesty the Emperor, this unfilial son has a wife and has forgotten his father. After that, what Su Lianhua thought was a try at falling in love gradually fell into the love network weaved by Qin Yuchen. However, in just 6 months, Su Lianhua unknowingly fell deeper and deeper into it, and later she held a grand wedding with Qin Yuchen in a daze. Became Huaio's crown princess, and was trapped in his love network and could no longer escape. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 519. A forum for the entire army to complain. A big figure in the 3rd Legion, Tisk, that old boy Derong has become more and more jealous recently. Yesterday, when I met him, this old boy actually held a peach as big as a basin in his left hand and a strawberry as big as his head in his right hand, so damn worthy of a beating, enviable. 2nd Legion old sheep, alas, this old boy used to be so poor that he even had his shirt patched, but now he can bite into a big peach worth 20,000 star coins and throw it away. He is a left behind veteran in the Legion. Why did this old boy live such a happy life as a child, as if he was taking care of himself in old age? Lao Xia of the 1st Legion, yes, I also met Derong yesterday. This old boy was stuffing heart protecting pills for his son in a big way. One stuff was a big bottle. How could he be so wealthy before? I had to search hard and save a few meals to buy Baba's little healing elixir. The 4th Legion is bitter, alas. I heard that Derong is still the leader of the 1st Legion. He wants to return his power. The White Star Lord inherited the Duke's mansion and became the White Duke, but he didn't want it anymore. He also claimed to trust him. The 9th Legion, he is still in charge, and he is still in charge. Damn it, tears of envy flowed from the corners of my mouth. Why don't our legions have such enlightened leaders? I used to despise the 9th Legion for being such a shabby settlement, but now, YYDS. In addition to the Feng family's 3rd Legion, the 9th Legion has good benefits, and there are no related households with idiots and blind commanders. Marshal Derong of the 9th Army Corps. Before, the 9th Army Corps was broken, now, it smells so good, ha 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 ha. The 4th Legion wants to change jobs. Can you please stop showing off? Hey, it's another day when I want to change jobs. I used to think that the 4th Legion was pretty good. The person in charge is the Duke of the Shui family. It's not as good as the top, but it's more than the bottom. But recently, the Shui family's operations have become more and more suffocating, and they are almost fooling around. Our Legion has not been paid wages for 8 months now, and all previous welfare benefits have been lost. The superiors also claim that there will be no war recently and the 2 empires are at peace, so our welfare subsidies will naturally be gone. I guess they just have no money and can't pay wages. Lao Xia of the 1st Legion, ha ha ha, the Shui family has been in a bit of trouble recently. I think they are going bankrupt. The Shui family planned on the 3rd princess to marry a fool. The 3rd princess counterattacked and cut off the cooperation between the fool's family and the Shui family. I have seen that this big ship of the Shui family will sink in a short time. Friends of the 4th Legion, you should be prepared. I estimate that this trend will mean that the 4th Legion will also be disbanded. The 4th Legion is struggling. Just disbanded would be better if it were disbanded. I just want to ask if the 9th Legion is recruiting soldiers. Their benefits are simply too drool-worthy. They are all provided with priority by the self-produced products on Wuyuan planet. We were so greedy for the good stuff that the 9th Legion even used it as a soldier. Marshal Derong of the 9th Army Corps, ha ha ha, thank you for your support. Since there is no war recently, our 9th Army Corps will no longer recruit people, and we have to kick out a group of people. The 4th Legion wants to change jobs. Is Muyuan Star recruiting people? I can weed weeds and induce birth. I can move bricks and fight with no problem, I am very muscular. The 4th Legion is struggling, yes, right, the 9th Legion is not hiring, so is Muyuan Star recruiting people. I heard that the welfare benefits of the guards on Muyuan Star are better than those in the Legion. What kind of contribution can I rely on? Points can be redeemed for Muyuanxing's special technique, the kind that allows one to fly against the force of gravity. Laoxia of the 1st Legion, Muyuan planet is really good. Last month, it was voted as the most suitable planet for rest in Huayao last month. Houses were open to the public for sale. My mother also took the money to go there. I bought a small villa for recuperation, not to mention, the recuperation effect is really good. My parents lived there for a month, and all their rheumatism and other problems were cured. When I take my next vacation, I will stay there too a few days. Ancestor of the Sheng family of the 2nd Legion, the little girl from Muyuanxing is really good. She has the vision to take her as an apprentice to my grandson. Last month, that kid made a medicine to treat old colds and rheumatism. After taking it, the effect was amazing. My wife said I looked radiant and looked several years younger. Head of the 1st Legion, well, that little girl has something. Their latest Bigo pill is very popular in the Orc Empire. The orcs who have eaten are much more docile and kind. Little Lord Feng of the 3rd Army, of course my wife is great now. My wife's Muyuan Star has been fully constructed. The pills are selling well in 2 empires. The total value of assets created every month currently exceeds my Jin Yuan Star. It's useless no matter how envious you are. Little Duke of the 3rd Army, by the way, Ancestor Sheng, that guy Sheng Bian is just a beggar hugging my wife's thigh. My wife saw that he had some qualifications, so she reluctantly accepted him. It's not me. His wife took the initiative to take a fancy to him. Ancestor Sheng of the 2nd Legion, ahem, Feng family boy, you have a good relationship with Bian, save him some face, let's talk in private. Little Lord Feng of the 3rd Army, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't pay attention to the occasion. By the way, I'm here to help my wife advertise. After all the infrastructure of Muyuan planet is completed, there is a shortage of talents now. You guys, if you are interested in working in Muyuanxing, please send your resume directly to the official website of Muyuanxing. We have agreed in advance that we are recruiting top-notch talents. If you are not good, don't come here to make up the number. It will not look good if you are dismissed. No, we don't want to sell anyone's face. After saying that, Feng Yuyu flashed people, and the comment area also started beating gongs and drums, making it very lively. Little King of the 1st Legion, Muyuan Star is recruiting people, haha. I quickly informed my uncle's eldest son's 2nd daughter to come over and give it a try. That girl has a doctorate in agriculture. A few days ago, I heard her nagging about wanting to go to Muyuan. As for Yuanxing farming, it is said that people who become Muyuanxing citizens can also purchase whitening pills first. Zhao Dalenzi of the 2nd Legion, who can say otherwise? My wife is also a senior fanatic of whitening pills. She will definitely be happy to go to work on Muyuan Star. My wife is a top accountant. Once she is successful there, I will retire. Follow her to eat soft rice. Proud and proud JPG. The 4th Army wants to change jobs. I'll go too. I'll apply for discharge immediately and go to Jupiter. Does Jupiter still lack an experienced retired major general with 80 years of experience? Big brother of the 1st Legion, my son is also a talented person, Chief Engineer of Information Maintenance. I will ask him to sign up right now. 4th Legion Nyomi Tuanzi, I'll go too, a top mecha maintainer who has been in the industry for 30 years, I'll sign up too. Zhuang Shushao took a breath in front of the screen and rubbed his hands excitedly. It's rolled up. These people are rolled up. I have a feeling that Muyuan planet will usher in the hottest talent recruitment scene in the interstellar. Bai Qianchun leaned next to Feng Yuyu, eating the fruit pulp that he handed to his mouth with a small silver fork. Hearing this, he raised his eyes with a smile. Then let's double the size of the scene as planned. Next we must welcome these mainstays who will prosper our Muyuan Star in the future. Zhuang Shu immediately straightened his back and answered the order excitedly. Yes, Madam Sir. The extra chapter is officially over. Dear friends, thank you for your company. I love you, okay.